For this example, we have filmed a guitarist using 3 cameras and recording sound on a separate audio recorder. Before we import everything into Premiere, to avoid confusion, we're going to rename the individual clips to help identify which camera angle they are. You can also rename the audio too, particularly if you've done multiple takes. You can now drag and drop the folders into Premiere to import everything. With everything imported, we can now start adding our clips and audio to the timeline. First, drag camera A onto video channel 1, then add camera B onto the second video layer above that, and camera C on the third layer above that. Make sure each time you're adding the audio to the timeline too. Lastly, add your separate audio recording to the timeline, beneath all the existing audio channels. At this point, Premiere will always show the video layer that's on the highest video channel, so if you need to see a channel underneath, you can toggle video channels on and off using the eye icon. In this example, we're using a 4K timeline, and one of our clips was filmed in 1080. So if we right-click on this clip and select Scale to Frame Size, this will scale this 1080 clip up to 4K resolution, ready to use. With your footage and audio imported, the next step is to synchronize it. Hold down the Shift key and left-click on all of your clips and audio to select them all. Next, right-click on a clip and select Synchronize. Premiere's inbuilt Synchronize function will open. Make sure you have the audio option selected and click OK. Premiere will now synchronize all of your footage and audio. If for some reason this audio sync fails, you might need to sync up manually. You'll need to look for one distinct point in your footage and audio that you can match up across all the clips. We've recorded here what's called a sync clap. It's simply clapping your hands, making sure they're visible in every camera angle. This now gives us a distinct reference point on both the camera and audio to match up. A clap is useful because on the audio waveforms it appears as a sharp spike that's very distinct from other audio recorded. If needed, we can then manually move the clips on the timeline so that the sync clap points all match up. If for some reason one camera hasn't recorded audio as well, you can use the visual reference of the clap to know where to move the clip to without needing to have recorded sound on that camera. With your footage and audio synchronized, we can now set up a multicam edit. We're going to use the second part of this recording, so we'll drag the cursor just before it starts and press Q on the keyboard. This will make a cut at the same point across all the clips and delete anything before. Sometimes a few extra bits are left over before, so make sure to delete these. Next, you need to create a nested sequence with your footage. Select all your clips, right-click and select Nest. Name your new nested sequence and hit OK. This will condense all your video clips into one nested sequence on the timeline. At this point, you can delete all the audio tracks that you don't need and just keep your separately recorded audio. If you want to drag your chosen audio into the first audio channel, just make sure not to move out of time. With a nested sequence now created, you need to enable it for multicam. Right-click on the nested sequence, go to Multicam and click Enable. Finally, change your workspace to multicam editing. Click on the wrench tool below your video and click Multicam. Your workspace will now look and function differently, specifically to assist with multicam editing. The multi-camera workspace functions slightly differently from your standard workspace. The left of the program window will display a smaller size view of all your available camera options, with a larger view on the right displaying the option that you're currently using. In the small display, when a box is surrounded in yellow, that means it's currently the angle being used. In multicam, you can make edits in real time, so while your edit is playing back, if I press the 2 key on the keyboard, it will cut to the second camera option. A red box will now appear around that option. Next time you stop playback, the cut will be made in your multicam sequence. While playback is paused, you can also change angle. For example, with this entire section selected, if I now press the 3 key, it will change the entire section to the third camera option. In multicam mode, you can also make edits as normal by dragging the edges of clips to extend or shorten those cuts as necessary. With the timeline playing, you can make multiple cuts and also overwrite existing edits if you've chosen a new angle. You may also want to do some color correction. Double click and reopen your nested multicam sequence. Make sure to change the view back to the standard composite video, and then color correct the whole clips here, rather than having to do them individually many times in your multicam sequence.